This letter is from a guy who is a lawyer, was a lawyer, and he is currently has been for what, John, what is it, 25 years now you've been on the federal court, the equivalent of a judge. I haven't let you down, John, even though I have seen you. I've never told you. I've never used this before, but in regards to my main point I want to get to for this video for Clive Palmer, because you're going to be told, or your people are going to be told certain things, but I want to get to that point later. Before I get to it, I need to show you something. I know of many people who hold, know him and they're of the high regard and self-esteem, whatever. I have at all times found him to be a very zealous, keen and conscientious person, always eager to progress. This is the beauty part. He is an honest person, held in high repute, and his integrity is without question. I have no hesitation whatsoever in recommending him to any person. His honesty and integrity is without question and high repute. How many has the Psychopath got? That's why I was so ashamed of him when I found... Anyway, this, I'll just tell you a bit more. I've got 100 or 200 photos of different buildings where this was classed as impossible by Shirley Strawn, the late singer from Skyhooks, when he was part of one of the reporters on home maintenance program. I can't remember what the program was called back in the, I'm not sure, it was late 80s and 90s, and yet for 10 years before he made the comment, and obviously it was researchers and did the writing, whatever, when he used the words "it's impossible," I'd been doing it for yonks. For yonks. What do I do? The impossible. What has the Psychopath done that's impossible? Nothing. This is by Clyde Palmer. Clyde Cameron. Get you mixed up, Clyde. Anyway, dear John, in the middle of the plain sheets, this was unsolicited. Testimony in respect of what you did, and attached the testimony. I used to joke to people without showing them that it would cost me $1 million to bribe a politician to do it. My work won Adelaide International Award through IATA, and that ended up, this is the Premier over in Penang, the then Premier, and here's a story in another paper, imparting skills of restoration of old buildings. And yeah, there's my name, they haven't spelled it properly, and that was, I mentioned that I did a seminar and with a couple of others, including Sam from the National Trust, etc., over in Penang. That was in July of 1995. That was the first trip overseas after the government wanted to export my expertise. It culminated in a job in Hong Kong later on, but let me show you when I went to Hong Kong to get the job with this guy here, and then we went to Shanghai after Hong Kong because they wanted to meet me as well. I had a silent phone number. I have mentioned that, I know. But just keep that in mind, a silent phone number. And yet I was only one of 3 companies in the world invited to tender for the one in Hong Kong. But here it is about the Shanghai job. And then they sent me a fax to my cousins in Milan. And there's my name, yeah, and dear John, it's by them. This is where they were on the 12th of 96. Sorry to bother you in Italy. But at our meeting with Mr. Zong, if I pronounce it wrong, my apologies, and Chen on Tuesday afternoon, expressed keen desire to see me get back there ASAP to start work on the building, and this is about 2 weeks before Christmas. Anyway, this is, and I'll go into why I didn't accept that and didn't go back, and then with another 6 or 7 phone calls in the middle of January, I refused to go there and do work. What has the Psychopath achieved in terms? Nothing. Here we go. This is a small list of some of the buildings I've done. Austrade. They promote Australian businesses. I didn't know this was in there. Obviously, again, I've been doing this for the last 12 months for other reasons. And look at this. Heritage Stone Conservation Co. You can tell that's my business. And I didn't even know they were doing it. Here we go. This is documents of the Ayole Synagogue. By the way, this synagogue later on won a UNESCO award. Yes, we did bring other South Australians into it. These are a couple of photos of the job I did at the Treasury building. and it does exactly what I said in my report when I worked for the council, that they stuffing it up and waste $1 million of the public's money. Taxpayers end up paying for all the botched jobs, etc., and all because I was bribed. I was told to pay a bribe and I refused to pay a bribe. I didn't even get a look at it, but never mind, that's long gone. 15 years after I employed, this is my second Indigenous person, they advertised on TV, try to give an Indigenous person a chance. Well, here was the second one. He was with me for 6 years, and what's more, he'd come out of 7 years jail only 3 months earlier. Won't go into too many details there, but he paid me a big compliment 2 or 3 months after he started working for me. I might have mentioned it earlier. Anyway, I created new methods and techniques in terms of non-polluting, and EPA came around and asked me eventually, because they hadn't heard any about me. They didn't know that there was no complaints about me. They didn't even know I existed until they approached the council and said, you know, who's doing this work, blah, blah, blah. And no, you know, we see these jobs, but we don't get any complaints about it. And then they told him, yeah, John's doing it. This is 1996. When I went to Hong Kong to do the job. You can see it corresponds with that letter fax from Shanghai. This is a week earlier. 1996. You can see all the stuff that is green there. Look at the one at the front. I've got to show you this one. Where's my mouse gone? There. 1996. 5th of the 12th, 1996. 5th of the 12th, 1996. Look at the moss. And this is in 1998 when we started doing the work. Look at this. The government department who sent their people, their lackeys over there who were incompetent. It was all part of a kickback because of the corruption in the department, and keep quiet about the other corruption. They claim this is in perfect original condition. What a joke. There you go, Fern. There's my writing at that time. And look at the lines. Look carefully at the lines. Carefully at the lines. Stabilised red here. But look at there. If it's in a shonking condition like it is, they put crisscross like diamonds, remove failed render. Go back and have a look at it. I've got to keep going. How incompetent. And that's one of about 30, 40, 50 photographs, and there's another one. Look at this. I've got it on the photograph. I can tell that it's all shot even from 50 to 100 metres away. They had scaffolding evidently and got up a lot closer than I did, and yet when a guy went to drill a hole, the whole section fell away. What incompetence. Not sure whether Dougie at the Queen Elizabeth Hospital is more incompetent than they were, but anyway, I came back from Hong Kong, and by the way, that Hong Kong job won the UNESCO Work Award that I mentioned earlier. Yeah, I'm getting my words muddled, trying to hurry up. But I wrote 3 letters, I think it was in total, to the government ministers of the department saying they're incompetent and corrupt. And despite sending that and many grateful letters from the minister, look at this. They still wanted me to go to Moscow with them to seek work. What a joke. Yes, John S. Heritage Stone Conservation Co. Yeah, that's one of my letters to the ministers. They still recommended me for work, stating that I was a nominated contractor for this particular one, the Adelaide Youth Court, and there's a job at Mount Gambier, there was a job at the jail. I do a lot of volunteer work, and I'll go into those reasons in EVILSICKOCLAN. I'll go into that one as well. That's at Port Lincoln, trying to help people because people matter. I was asked to take over this business. The guy disappeared from South Australia because the fact that he bought it for had an affair before it opened, and he took off. He was so upset. Anyway, he put a manageress in there and had it up for sale for well over a year, and that was advertised. I never saw the adverts, but I know he kept telling me he changed agents 3 times and was going to change again. I made a comment to him. He came back and asked me if I would run it for him, and I turned it from one of the lowest, Michelle's Patisserie. This is in the Central Market. This is the guy that actually owned the business. But I increased it from about 70 up to 350 a few months, and a month later 418, and it won the Chairman's Club Award. And the winners are down there, South Australian and WA, I got the thing, Adelaide Central. That's the one I was running. I had a psychological test because I wanted to buy the business for the kids. I've got to skip through this. I'm already past time. It is also worth noting that Mr. Scully made no errors of the questions he attempted. He is therefore likely to be accurate in computational work. I was told verbally as well that you must be an honest guy. You must have had a very good education, which shocked me. And I told him, no, hang on, I only finished first year high only because my father wanted me to start work early and wouldn't let me do homework. But anyway, he said you're in the top 20% in writing. My failure is my verbal. I'm not a con man, I'm not a thing, but I'm also honest, and I don't speak unless I know what I'm talking about. This is the part that you are going to be told, Mr. Palmer, and anybody else that will listen to him, he will tell you when I do this that I was detained under the Mental Health Act. So look at the dates. 11 of the 7th, the one before was about a month earlier. There was 2 in May, and then there was another one only a couple of days later. Have a look at this. Double platelets. Yes, I requested because of the divorce, and my wife ex-wife now, wanted to use it in the divorce case, and she did. But here it is, part of the detainment is 2/8/7 to the 6th of the 8th of the 7th, Dougie Wilson. Oh, what a joke he's got to be. I was detained under the Mental Health Act. Were normal. All the tests, including CT scan, were normal. But my ex went to them and told them that I was on drugs. So she can... must be something that was on Days of Our Lives, The Bold and Beautiful, because that's all she bloody ever did. And anyway, end up that I was detained under the Mental Health Act. They bored me for 2 hours and said, come do a blood test. In the end, 2 things. 1, to prove my innocence and that I'm not on drugs. And 2, I knew my blood was okay, so yes, in the end I went with them voluntarily. They were going to drop me back home. I first said, well, after 2 hours, I'll take my car, I'll see you do the blood test, and I'll come back and tell me the results. I knew they were okay, and also to prove my innocence, so I went willingly, and they just lied and lied and lied and lied. And in fact, it was at the hospital that one of the nurses said, you must have an evil wife. And then years later, when I did the security thing at Royal Adelaide Hospital mainly, yeah, that's when everybody was saying evil when they heard my full story. Not the full story, they only heard a part of it. There it is. I did 124. I've done more since. Some of the stuff at Michelle's, I've got to put that on a different video. But Mr. Palmer, if he tells you I'm crazy, yeah, don't believe him. If he tells you I've achieved nothing, yeah, by psychopath standards, I've achieved nothing because no one's committed suicide and I don't owe anybody any money. And I'll put on about my ex, and people are going to be finding it absolutely unbelievable.